Level 1. The Neighborhood. South Central Los Angeles, 1975. You are 7 years old. The city doesn't look like a war zone. It looks like home. Cracked sidewalks, sun-bleached lawns, a liquor store on the corner. The ice cream truck comes on Tuesdays. The county bus runs late. This is a neighborhood designed to contain people, not develop them. After World War II, restrictive housing covenants funneled black families into specific zip codes south of the 10 freeway. When courts struck them down in 1948, the practice continued. Redlining, discriminatory lending, blockbusting. Everyone you know lives here. Nobody you know lives anywhere else. The schools are underfunded. The LAPD operates by aggressive suppression and minimal community trust. Officers work this area the way an occupying force works a territory. They log the names. You're 7. You just know the block. The block is everything. Level 2. The Presence. You are 11. The men on the corner wear blue. A bandana in a back pocket. Blue laces. A particular way of pulling a hat. Everything is coded. Everything means something. Raymond Washington and Stanley Tookie Williams founded the Crips in South Central in 1969. Washington was 15. Williams was 17. The name may have started as Cribs, a reference to their age. By 1980, over 30,000 Crip-affiliated members across Los Angeles County. Nobody organized this expansion. It spread because the conditions were right. They notice the kids who are watching. They always do. At school, you're a seat number. At home, a problem to be managed. Out here, someone meets your eyes and nods. Means everything when you're 11 and invisible everywhere else. That is not an accident. Level 3. The Identity. You are 14. The school has 2,400 students and 68 functional textbooks in the history department. This is a resource allocation decision made by people who do not live here. You have a set, a color. A name that isn't the one on your birth certificate. A name given by people who see something in you worth naming. Cuz. The address of your belonging is 2 square miles of asphalt. The blue flag is not a gang symbol to you. It is the first flag that ever claimed you. Crip culture has its own linguistics. The letter B is crossed out, disrespect to the Bloods, who formalized after 1972 as a reaction to Crip expansion. Sick becomes CC. You write kickback. A dialect evolved under pressure, the way all dialects do. Research is consistent. Gang affiliation spikes between ages 12 and 15, highest among youth with weak institutional attachments, school, family, employment prospects. The weaker those structures, the stronger the pull. Your institutional attachments are extremely weak. Level 4. The Soldier. There was an initiation. You don't talk about it. After that, you were in. That's the whole ceremony. OGs, original gangsters, are the men in their late 20s who've survived long enough to give orders instead of carry them out. Young gangsters, your range, do the actual work. Below you, tiny gangsters watch and learn. Below them, baby gangsters run errands and don't know enough yet to be afraid. You are in the middle. Maximum exposure, minimum protection. By 1984, the crack cocaine epidemic has arrived in South Central. Cheap to produce, cheap to buy, catastrophically addictive. Crip sets are perfectly positioned. Territorial control, street infrastructure, a workforce of young men with no competing economic options. The risk falls downward. It always does, in every industry. The people with the least power absorb the most danger. You have the G code, the street's law of silence. and the fragile hope that loyalty runs upward as reliably as danger runs down. It doesn't always. Level 5. The record. You are 19. Your name is in a database. The LAPD has maintained gang intelligence files since the 1970s. By the 1990s, this formalizes into CalGang, a statewide system with names, photos, and gang designations for hundreds of thousands of individuals. Inclusion requires meeting 2 of 10 criteria: wearing gang colors, frequenting gang areas, associating with known members. You meet several criteria just by living in your neighborhood. First arrest at 17. Charge reduced. Doesn't matter. The contact is logged. Second arrest at 18. 4 months in county. Logged. Every interaction compounds. The record is not just about what you did. It's about who you are perceived to be. Gang injunctions begin appearing in Los Angeles in 1987. Civil court orders targeting named individuals in defined areas, prohibiting association, restricting movement. The practical effect is making your existing life in your existing neighborhood an ongoing legal liability. You are 19. Juvenile record. Adult arrest. Gang designation in a system you cannot access or correct. The door that was always narrowing has closed. Level 6. The system. You are 23. The courtroom is smaller than television prepared you for. Faster. More bored with you specifically. Your public defender has 127 other active cases. The DA has a career to manage. The judge has a docket. You receive a sentence with a gang enhancement, California Penal Code 186.22, which adds years to the base charge for crimes connected to a street gang. Your documented history makes the enhancement straightforward. Inside, the structure continues. OGs incarcerated years ago maintain influence extending through prison walls back onto the street via calls, visits, and the movement of people in and out. The irony is clean. The structure law enforcement sought to dismantle has been housed and reinforced inside the correctional system. Prison is not a break from the gang. Prison is the gang at higher density. The G code holds here with the force of law. Every other option has been removed. You serve 6 years. Released at 29. Level 7. The attrition. You are 31. Gang members face mortality rates 60 to 80 times higher than the general population of comparable age. Average active lifespan, 2 to 4 years before death, injury, or incarceration. Recidivism, around 70% within 3 years of release. 31 in your original peer group makes you statistically unusual. Marcus is dead, 2001. Drive-by, unresolved. Deshaun is doing 25 to life under a RICO enhancement, federal statute allowing prosecutors to charge entire criminal enterprises as single defendants. Little Kevin died of an overdose in county, 2004. Dre got out and went back in. Terrell just disappeared. Nobody talks about that. Felony record. Excluded from most formal employment, public housing, student aid, and in many states, voting. No work history that translates. Chronic pain from a wound that wasn't treated properly. A son raised by his grandmother in the same neighborhood. The neighborhood looks the same as when you were 7. The liquor store is still there. Level 8. The loop. You are watching a kid, maybe 12, sitting on the same wall you sat on, watching the same corner. His shoes are clean, he cares about that, and he has the particular stillness of a child who has learned to observe before acting. Someone nods at him from across the street. You know what that nod means. You know the arc. Not the specific events, the arc. The conditions that produced the Crips in 1969 have not been resolved. South Central, renamed South Los Angeles in 2003, a rebranding that changed nothing structural, remains one of the most economically isolated areas in the country. School funding still tied to property tax. Police presence still disproportionate to social services. The sets have new names. The phones are different. The database is larger. The math hasn't changed. Crips are now over 50 years old. They have outlasted every eradication effort, every injunction, every task force. Not because they are powerful, because they fill a vacuum that nothing else has filled. Raymond Washington was killed in 1979. He was 26. Stanley Williams spent 24 years on death row, writing children's books about staying out of gangs, and was executed by the state of California in 2005. The organization they founded as teenagers, because they were teenagers in a place that offered them nothing else, has outlived them both by decades. The kid on the wall is 12. Someone nods at him from across the street. He nods back.